So you want to be a registered dietitian? You are in the right place. My name is Jenny Westerkamp, founder of All Access Dietetics, and your host for Dear Future Dietitian, a podcast dedicated to helping you feel more confident in every step of your journey towards that RD credential. Thank you for being here and taking the time to listen to this episode and investing in yourself and your future career. I can already tell you're going to be a rockstar dietitian. Now let's get into it. Hello. Today I'm talking about a very frequently asked question, which is how do I gain experience in dietetics? And this question comes up a lot because people definitely want to get experience so that they can, start networking, building relationships. They want to explore different areas of the field so they know what kind of specialties they might be interested in. And they also want to maybe be competitive for applications for dietetic internships or masters with dietetic internships or graduate programs, whatever it is. I will also warn you that, you're going to be continuing to want to do this as you go on in your career through those exploratory years, as you're trying to figure out your specialty and even your next job, your next move. So all of the advice here really applies at any stage of your process, and it's never too late to start applying these strategies. It all will benefit you. So I want to kind of break it down into 3 steps when we're thinking of, okay, how do I get experience? How do I understand this field more outside of just my classes and maybe my student club meetings that I'm going to? The first step is researching the field, really figuring out all of the different possibilities there are in the field. We have a free ebook called The Dietitian Dream Jobs, 75 Exciting Careers as a Registered Dietitian. So you can see all the different types of options there are out there. You can also look at the Academy's dietetic practice groups, and you can just type in literally Academy dietetic practice groups, and you can see, I think there's 25 or 30 different groups, and they're all different specialty groups. And even within the specialties, they have subspecialties. So just browsing around on their website will get you a really good idea of, what they do, the people that are on the executive committee of those practice groups, searching them on LinkedIn and seeing what their career paths have been to get to that specialty. That's really good research. You can also, of course, use Instagram. You can search the registered dietitian hashtag on Instagram or TikTok. And you can see all the different types of people through that. And then you can Google local dietitians. So just think about how you could easily just be okay, I'm in Chicago. So Chicago dietitians, and be able to see a bunch pop up, or even search that on LinkedIn where you can say dietitian, and then you can filter by your geographical area. Another really cool website that it's not updated anymore, but it still exists, and it's called whatrdsdo.com. I thought that was a really cool website. She just interviewed, it's a fellow dietitian, and she just interviewed so many different types of people in a lot of different areas at a lot of different points in their career, which I thought was really interesting, because we know that your first 5 years, your second 5 years, your third 5 years, your fourth 5 years, they all can be really different. And you obviously can't compare yourself to where people are at, 20 years into their career, but it's good to just get a vision for what their path was and all the different steps that they took along the way. As a reminder, there's so many possibilities. There's so many different ways that you can apply your dietetics background to a position, to a job, to a business. And you want to make sure that you're really understanding the full scope of the possibilities in the field. I think in academics, we tend to know a lot more about clinical food service and community nutrition, but there's so many more things. And even with the entrepreneurial world just really blowing up, there's specialties within that as well, different populations that you'd work with for that too. So that's the first step. And then the second step is, now you have a better understanding of the landscape of the field. Now you want to create your networking game plan. When I say networking game plan, people are very intimidated by networking. They think, what would I say? How would I even email a random dietitian, or how do I make those relationships? But I'll give you some concrete ways that you can do this that really work, and things that I did exactly when I was in your shoes as a future dietitian. And then even as a new dietitian, I did this as well. So the first is to join a local dietetics group. So think about, don't be so overwhelmed by the fact that there's thousands of dietitians you could reach out to. Just start locally with it. I know I joined the Chicago Food and Nutrition Network when I came back to Chicago after my internship. When I was in my internship, I joined the Massachusetts Student Dietetics Association. I think it's called something different now because it's not association. What is it? It's like Massachusetts Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, their student group. And then even the Illinois Dietetics Association or the Illinois Academy and the Chicago Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. So those are great places to start. And, going to the meetings or, just like trying to get involved in that, even trying to meet the executive board and have conversations with them on how you can get involved would be a great first step. They're obviously in those positions to help and to foster more networking among the group. And so they're more than willing to help you do that. And then let's see. So thinking about, yes, joining the local practice group. Also, even like when I was in Boston for my internship, I started a mentor program for the Massachusetts Academy. And I did that, just spearheaded it, and was able to meet a lot of the mentors that participated in the program, and then also mentees. So it was just a great position to be in to meet more people. And then, even just asking local associations if they need any student volunteers can be really helpful as well. This episode is sponsored by All Access Dietetics Get Matched Coaching Program. This program allows you to get the support, accountability, and expert strategy to help guide you through every step of the application process. Now here's Megan Huff with her experience as a Get Matched coaching client.
Hi, my name is Megan, and I used Get Matched Coaching. I chose to invest in this because I felt lost in the application process and that I didn't really have adequate support from the Career Center and my advisor, because dietetics is a really niche career path, and I just thought that All Access Dietetics would be able to give me more guided support and strategies to make my application stand out. I wanted to feel confident in this process too, and be able to find ways to make myself a strong applicant. And my favorite part was that my coach helped me feel confident in my application, provided me with those strategies to have a standout application. And she gave really great edits too, and was able to answer every question I had because I had so many questions. And yeah, I'm happy to say that I matched to my top choice. So thank you, All Access Dietetics.
All right. So then the next kind of step, it's still in step 2, which is creating that networking game plan. Another idea would be getting a mentor and really pitching yourself as a go-giver. Some of the best advice I received was, and this is early on when I was a student, was that it was really all about relationships. It was very much about how do you create a win-win relationship? How do you show value to that relationship and have it be two-sided? So imagine if you're trying to be friends with someone and they were giving all to you, but you weren't giving anything back to them. That wouldn't be a very good friendship. And so you want to think about that with networking as well, where you're trying to create a win-win situation. You're trying to pitch yourself that you can bring value to them. And that will make it feel more like a beneficial relationship, a mentor-mentee relationship. I know when I was a student, the way I did this in a few ways because I had a handful of mentors and it was all people that I worked for. But I pitched myself to the Chicago Blackhawks dietitian, Julie Burns, when I was a student. And I was introduced myself via email. I said what I was working on, all the different past experiences that I've had and how I could help her business. I had a job in my freshman and sophomore year of high school managing, being an office manager for an office that did titles and closings on houses. I mean, this was just random. It was from a mom in my neighborhood who I babysat for. And then she was like, oh, you'd be really good at this. You're so organized or whatever. So anyways, long story short, it kind of allowed me to pitch myself that I could help the Chicago Blackhawks dietitian with her office things, anything behind the scene, managing her client files or her QuickBooks, accounting or, just managing her emails, whatever it was. I was able to show that value. And I even was like, oh, I'll walk your dog. I'll babysit your 3 kids, like whatever it is. And then, would love to be able to do projects for you and just dive into sports nutrition and learn as much as I can. So that I have a higher chance of getting a good response when I do that, because like even now, like when I have students reach out to me, although I don't have a lot of opportunities anymore, but when I did, it was always the person that really pitched their value to me that I was going to pay attention to, because I have to get something out of it too. I mean, that is just the cold, hard truth of relationships. We're all very, very busy people. And so to be able to see that there could be a benefit to me as well to have work with a student is what needs to be very clear. And you can make that clear. So anyways, that is my whole spiel on like how you get that mentor, how you pitch yourself. And then now you're like, okay, well, I have the strategy. I can do the local dietetics group. Now you need to create a list. And I created like a Google sheet where I was categorizing and listing like all these different types of people, local people, what their specialty was, what their email address was. I was also listing classmates. I was listing coworkers that I had in the past, all my professors, my parents' friends, friends that I just had, in general, that I thought, hey, maybe they have some connection to a dietitian or to something in the nutrition field. And even alumni from your program. So alumni from either my dietetic internship or my undergraduate. The Chicago Blackhawks dietitian was a University of Illinois alum like me. And then even I connected with even a few more people from there as I was doing my research and everything. But those are all connections that you can use. And then you have your pitch of how you can give value, and you can share your background and be able to reach out to all these people and spread your net really, really wide. That is what I would say worked the best. I remember when I was between like my senior year into my dietetic internship, I remember emailing no less than like 200 dietitians because I wanted to get people to know who I was. I would email them. I would ask questions. If they said that was okay to do, I might have phone calls with them. Now, I would imagine people would maybe do a Zoom meeting or, anything that if they have the capacity to do that, or be able to give you projects and even paid positions with especially like private practice or entrepreneur dietitians who might need that help even more. So that's like number 2, that's the game plan and how you can, once you research the field and you understand like all the different specialties you'd want to pursue and try to find dietitians in, then you have that game plan and you go out and try to find those people and create those relationships and give that value. Now, if you're, I guess, going into like the final step, it would be the strategy around like the types of experiences that you'd want to get. And this would be more as a future dietitian, even as a brand new dietitian, this might work as well. But the 3 types that I always talk about, and this goes into being competitive for a dietetics program or a graduate program in dietetics, it would be number 1, foundational experience under a dietitian, something similar to a dietetic internship or a supervised practice rotation. And then the second would be a goal area. So a specialty like in your unique area that you're exploring. You can obviously have multiple different types of experiences in different specialty areas, but you just want to make sure, especially for if you're writing a cover letter or you're applying to a certain job, you want to have an experience that lines up with that experience that they offer. And then the third would be leadership. And leadership is helpful. You could do that through a nonprofit organization, through a professional involvement with an academy group or something local to you. Or it could be in your job where you're a supervisor or a manager, or even on your campus if you are like, heading up a club or something like that. I like to point out my tip here with leadership is sometimes you're like, oh, I don't even know what I would want to lead or what I would want to do. You could think about even starting your own initiative or organization or whatever, or even like a business, side hustle where you could potentially lead other people, even if it's like you had a side hustle and you took other students that helped you, right? Like that would be an amazing experience and would allow you to use that to show how you could give value and leadership in future experiences. Like everything about this is like a stepping stone. All your experiences that you get are going to lead to bigger and better experiences. And so that's why it's important to have that intentionality around it, that game plan, that strategy, so that you can make those leaps more intentionally and in the right direction that you want. All right. So I feel like, I don't know, to summarize, I would say we said, researching the field was number one, creating a networking game plan was number two, and then getting those three different types of experiences was number three. And I think that really encompasses all my big tips on gaining experience. And as a reminder, the whole point of this is to build those relationships within the field. Knowing that this field is generally pretty small, especially once you get into specialties. Like I was in sports dietetics for 13 years of my career, and there are not that many sports dietitians in the grand scheme of things. And even what I was trying to get into and was in, which was professional sports, that's even smaller. They, think about every how many professional sports teams there are in the U.S. Less than 1,000. I mean, I could count it. I think it's like 400 or something like that. If you're counting like minor league baseball and soccer and like football, baseball, basketball, hockey, all that, then yeah, it's like a few hundred people. So, if you were interested in that, it would be like, how can I reach literally like 100 people? How could I have conversations with 100 people? And out of that, experiences are bound to happen. And, just having like that follow up too, because I know I made that spreadsheet and I would highlight like the very hot contacts that I had that I was like, I need to keep up with them. And that's what I did even with Julie. Once I had my internship with her, I kept up with her and I was checking in with her every 6 months. So I finished up my senior year and I checked in with her a couple times then. She did my references for my dietetic internship applications. And then I was checking in with her when I was going through my internship and checked in with her as I was thinking about like my next steps and jobs. And then she ended up hiring me for my first job. It was like a part-time job helping her with her private practice and then really getting trained by her to be a sports dietitian and then helping her with the Chicago Blackhawks, their minor league team, and, private like client athletes as well. So all these things, again, build on each other. And the sooner you can implement these strategies, the quicker you're going to see that momentum and you're going to get really, really excited. Because I think like a lot of motivation comes from just being excited about what the future can bring and really focusing on that and kind of like knowing what you want in order to move in that direction and feel purpose and to feel like you know kind of what's going on. And I won't say like you'll know everything because there is an exploratory period. And, I was doing like 10 different things in my first 5 years besides sports. Like I did an internship in public relations. I was writing. I was consulting. I was doing like social media for dietitians. I mean, and then obviously all access dietetics I was doing. So there was a lot going on and that's all good, but it's like the more you can cast your net, the better. And that would be my best advice for you on this. And hopefully you have some very strategic things to do now that you can apply. And I hope that you do them because that is the key. You have to take action on all of this advice in order to get the benefits of it. And don't be afraid. Just know that you have a lot to give and dietitians appreciate your energy, your initiative, your confidence when you reach out to them. And it's just a matter of showing that value and, having there be a lot of these interactions because not everyone is going to say yes or have the capacity to work with you, but the more people that you reach out to, the better. And the more you continue to follow up and build those relationships, the better. All right, I'm going to stop there. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you have any suggestions for future topics or questions that you want me to answer, definitely send a DM to us on Instagram or on TikTok, and we will be sure to incorporate that into future episodes. Don't forget to also review and rate this podcast. That really helps and just encourages people who are thinking about diving into the episodes to do that if you did like what you heard. So thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next week. Thank you for listening to this episode of Dear Future Dietitian. I hope you got a lot out of it, and I also hope that you take action based on what you learned today. Now, if you have any questions at all, please reach out to us through our website, allaccessdietetics.com, or DM us on Instagram or TikTok. We are here to help you become a more confident registered dietitian to be and make this journey way less stressful for you. So reach out, don't be a stranger, and we hope to hear from you soon. Have a great day.